Hello everyone. I hope you all are doing incredibly great. Welcome to the workshop of today. Today we are going to talk about use of blockchain and its use cases in the modern world. Today we have our expert speaker Kumar Satyat with us. He is a developer at TimeSwap and he'll be telling you about the insights about how to get started with blockchain. What are the use cases of blockchain right now in this industry? There's a lot being hype is going around the blockchain and NFTs and all these word the metaverse. So what are these things exactly? How we should look upon all these skills as a developer, and what are the key skills or the assets that you need to be in the right zone. So he's going to tell you everything about around the blockchain. So over to you, Kumar.
Yep. Thank you very much for introducing me. So, hey guys, how are you doing? So, hello world, basically. Uh, so, we will start with the basic of blockchain, like simple introduction of blockchain, because right now it is very much trending in the market, and everyone is already aware of blockchain technology. But most of the people know blockchain from crypto trading, NFTs, and all those hype words. So today we are going to talk about basically what are the main use cases of the blockchain, which everyone can adopt, right? So I will share my screen. Yes. Wait.
Yeah, perfect, it's visible.
Okay. So just wait, let me prepare today and full screen. Okay. It is full screen, right? Okay. Okay, guys. So today we are going to talk about the use case of the blockchain and application in the modern world, because right now blockchain is very trending, and 5 years from today, like blockchain will be like very much trending, as of like ML and AI are trending today, and everyone is adopting ML and AI. You can see ML AI everywhere, like in phone, laptop, and everywhere basically, right? So simply, blockchain is also at very early stage. Like no one is like, there are very few builders, very few developers in the blockchain space, and so they are building most of the applications on the blockchain. Like but people know about blockchain only for the cryptocurrencies and FT. Apart from that, there are many and many main use cases which can be replaced in the traditional world, like normal centralized world. We can replace with the decentralized term, which is blockchain. So before starting with that, like who is me? Who is me? So basically, I am Kumar Satyat. I am a blockchain developer at TimeSwap. So my role is like to develop smart contracts and handle the backends and everything. So blockchain developer is a very big scope. Like if you talk about the web developer, so web developers means it is not only front end or back end. Like it is like whole bunch of sets, tech stacks. So simply, we have also same thing in blockchain. Blockchain. If you talk about blockchain developer, there can be smart contract developer, backend developer, core blockchain developer, and many more things, right? So today's agenda, what are the agenda of the today's session is like introduction to blockchain, a simple introduction, because I know most of you are already aware of the blockchain, right? So it will be like simple blockchain in simple words. Okay, and types of the blockchain, like all the pillars of the blockchain, how blockchain. We should know types of the blockchain, because that only depends on the what could be the use case, right? If you are using in your own college, you are developing your own blockchain, so you should be going with the private one. But if you are making some other project, then you must be go with the public one, right? So that would be thing, and applications and the use cases, and after that we will have a question answer. Okay, so starting with the introduction to blockchain. So simply, blockchain is what is blockchain? So blockchain is, you can distribute the term blockchain into two terms, like block and chain. So it's a chain of blocks. So you will ask, what is blocks? I can understand the chain, but what is blocks? What does the block contains? So it contains the transactions. What are transaction now? So anything you do on blockchain network, it is known as a transaction. Whether you do a right operation, whether you send money, whether you send Bitcoin, all these things are transactions. These are the records which are stored in the blocks, right? So you basically you curate all the transactions and the records and put it in the blocks, and that are linked using the cryptography. So you must have heard of the term cryptography. So cryptography is the term like in which it is like decoded with the particular hash functions. There are many functions like SHA, 256, SHA6, and most of the functions, there are cryptography functions. So these are mathematical terms, mathematical functions which decode your data, right? So you can't encrypt it. Basically, the cryptography is the thing. Power of the cryptography is like you can't decode the functions without having your particular keys. So you should have that keys, only then you can decode it, right? So in simple terms, I'm explaining you. Okay. So these blocks, suppose you got a transaction, you did a transaction, I send you one ether at 12 a.m. 17 July, right? So this makes a transaction. Like sender will be my address and two will be your address. What amount I have sent you? Suppose I have sent you one ether. So the value will be one ether, the date of transaction, the time of transaction, and many more things, right? These are curated, and so that makes a transaction, and you put that transaction in a block. So at the same time, there could be many transactions in the world, because blockchain is not limited to like only city, country. It is like global thing, global network in which many peers are connected. So many transactions at the same time which are done, they just curate it and put it in block, and they link, that makes one block, right? So there could be a capacity of one block, that is like 1 MB if you talk about Ethereum, right? So 1 MB is the block size. That could be the maximum. It can hold transactions up to 1 MB. And then again, after 15 seconds, another block is generated. And from the transaction are put in the blocks. And again, there are two blocks, so they are chained together. So this makes the chain of blocks. So this is why we call blockchain. So you can assume blockchain as a distributed ledger. So what is ledger? Ledger we talk about like khata book, right? So we note everything in a ledger, the transaction type and everything. So if you make that thing a duplicate of that ledger and distribute over the peers network. So suppose you got a ledger and you distribute among your friends, right? So if you go on a one ledger and try to change that thing, manipulate the value, so you can't do, because I have a copy of that ledger, right? So if you're going to change that thing, you have to come to my ledger and change the value, same value at my ledger also. So which is then only I can say, hey, yes, this value is correct. So suppose these ledger are distributed among like thousands and millions, and I don't know how much nodes are there. So these are distributed among all the nodes. Then how are you going to change the same value in all those thousand nodes? Which is impossible, right? Which is impossible. You can't change that on the all thousand nodes, right? So this makes the blockchain immutable to change, like it can't be changed. So like the third I'll go with the third paragraph. The second is like cryptographic hash of the previous block, of course. So it is saying like each block, what it contains cryptographic hash of the previous block, which I said like cryptography hash, and timestamp with a date and time, and transaction data, right? So there's a term of Merkle tree. I won't go into the depth of the blockchain. So there is a term Merkle tree through which it is connected, like it is the transaction are made, right? So all these things make a block, single block. So what block contains cryptographic hash of the previous block, timestamp, and transaction data, right? So this make a one block. So by design, blockchain is resistant to modification of its data. So how is it so? I already said, like there are many ledgers which is distributed, so you can't change it, because once recorded data in any given block cannot be altered retroactively without alteration of all the subsequent blocks. So this is the same thing. So if you change in one block, so the key, the cryptographic hash of that block is put it in the next block, and again it is cryptified, using cryptographic hash, and the key of that block is set up into the next block. So if you are going to change the first block, then you must have the key of the second block, and to decode the second block, you must have the key of the previous block. So which is impossible, right? So there is a website, ethweaver.live. If you go and check on that website, so you can see. Uh, uh, wait, can I? No, I can't share that link right now. So yeah, so this is the link through which you can see how the transactions are made, how the uh, transaction are coming up and forming the block, and then blocks are chaining up in the second block. There are chain of blocks, so that are live transaction which are happening right now in the global one. So these are the transactions which are happening right now. So if you get time, just go and check ethweaver.live. So this is the website link. Okay. So coming on the next thing, like what makes the blockchain, right? So there are three pillars of the blockchain technology. When we talk about the blockchain technology, so we already know about what is blockchain and everything. So what are the basic pillars which make the blockchain technology very powerful? So if you talk about the normal databases, they are already doing their job very good, right? So we are already dependent on the centralized database. But what is the thing that makes blockchain database? I would say blockchain is a database, of course, because you are storing the data. So if you are storing the data, so that means that is a database, right? So there are three pillars of the blockchain technology: decentralization, transparency, and immutability. So the first one is decentralization. So we already know blockchain is like decentralized one. When you talk about the centralized one, so we are using, of course, MongoDB and Firebase and all these databases, right? So these data, what all the companies which are right now, they are the centralized company. They are using centralized database. Okay. So suppose they have one data center. I would talk about like AWS, Amazon Web Services. Like suppose they have their data center in America, right? So there could be one or two databases. I agree. There could be two data centers. So one is in America, one is in India. Suppose, right? So if someone hacks the first one, the first data center, so they already have the backup at India. Okay, they can manage their things. But what if at the same time both the data centers are attacked and hacked? So all the data which are stored on the AWS, they are going to like, you are going to lose your data, right? Of course. So in that case, we can say it is centralized. And as every company is dependent on the centralized database, so yeah, they are going to lose their data, of course. So that is very bad thing. But if you talk about the decentralization blockchain, so blockchain doesn't work like that. There is no central node, there is no central server, there is no central database. Basically, everyone connected in the blockchain network serves as a server, serves as a client, serves as a database. So there are many nodes connected in the blockchain, and as the time is growing. So net nodes are growing up. People are just adding, joining the blockchain network. So they are making the blockchain nodes. So the decentralization, the power of the decentralization. So every nodes which is connected to the blockchain network have their own database. Like suppose I have my laptop, so I want to join the blockchain network, Ethereum node, so I can join that. So I will run a node at my computer, so it will use the instance of my computer, it will use the hardware of my computer as a server, as a database. So in the blockchain technology, all the data which are stored are distributed among the nodes. So suppose if a data is stored on my computer, the same copy of that data is going to be stored on all the nodes which are connected to that network. So this makes the blockchain decentralized in that case. It's same like distributed ledger technology, because blockchain is also known as distributed ledger technology. So it is the same thing, decentralization, how it works. So the data are distributed and among the nodes, so it makes it is decentralized. Okay. Now second thing is transparency. So if you go and open any, the good thing about the blockchain technology, okay, if you do a transaction, bank transaction, right? So suppose I transfer you 100 rupees via UPI. So I get a transaction ID, right? And date, time, or the address, the UPI address of the receiver, my UPI, right? And the amount I have transferred. But can anyone in the world can see the transaction? My question is, can anyone in the world can see the transaction, like, yeah, yeah, this transaction happened? No, no, right? Because it is like, it is not transparent. You can't see everything on the bank thing, whatever they are, whatever transaction are happening right now, you can't see, right? So, but the good thing about the blockchain is it is purely transparent. So if you open any scanner, I think at the end of the this session, I will open that scanner and let you see how you can see the transparent thing, like how the transactions are being there. Like if you can see the address of receiver, address of sender, time stamp, amount received, amount sent, data done. So everything you can see. Not only that, every app, every DApp, decentralized app which are running on the blockchain, you can see their code base also. What code base they are using, what type of transaction someone did, what function you called. You can see everything which is happening on the blockchain right now. And in any corner of the world, like you can open that scanner and see. So you just need transaction hash. That's all you need. And even if you don't have, just open the scanner and you will see lots and thousands and millions of transactions going on there. So this makes the blockchain transparent. You can see anything. So it is not like hidden thing. And because there is no server, of course, so yeah, it is transparent. So the last one is immutability. So I have already explained that thing, how it is immutable, because because of the power of decentralization, like the ledger is distributed among all the nodes. So if you are going to change at one node, you have to change the same data at every node, right? Which is impossible. So there is a attack called 51% attack. So we say the blockchain only. So who is the head of the blockchain network? There must be someone who is controlling, right? So actually, blockchain networks listen to the majority of the people. So suppose there are three nodes connected in a blockchain network. I am just assuming three nodes. Okay. So one is saying A is equal to 2, second is saying A is equal to 2, and third is saying A is equal to 3. So what the blockchain will receive A is equal to 2 because the majority of the node is saying A is equal to 2. So it is going to the majority of the things, right? So the blockchain network is going to listen to majority of the nodes which are connected in that network. So same thing happens in the node also. There are million of nodes. So you have to listen listen to all of the nodes, and the whatever the maximum node says, whatever their decision is, so blockchain network is going to follow that thing. So if you are going to hack the blockchain network, if you are going to change the blockchain network, the data. So what you have to do, you have to change you have to hack the 51% of the nodes and then change the data, which is like impossible. And it will also require a lot of computation, which is like impossible, right? So these are the three pillars of the blockchain technology, which is making blockchain technology a boom and making blockchain very powerful in comparison of centralized blockchain, right? So these were the three pillars. And now types of the blockchain. So basically there are two types of blockchain: public blockchain and private blockchain. There is also third type of blockchain, which is hybrid. So hybrid is a mixture of public and private, but that is like very rare. Very few people use hybrid blockchain, but most of the industries and the people just use public or private based on their use cases. So as I have already said, key use case depends on the types of the blockchain. So it totally depends on your use case. What is your use case, and then accordingly you are going to select that type of the blockchain. So coming to the public blockchain. So public blockchain is also two types of, like permissioned and permissionless. So I'll just simply explain them one by one. So permission blockchain. So in a public permission blockchain, anyone can join the network. So as by the name, we are getting the public. So public is meant for everyone. This type of blockchain is for everyone. Anyone can join the network. You can also join the network, right? You can see the data, you can see everything. But a select few can take care of the consensus and overall network. So what is consensus? So consensus is like, okay, there must be a uh, proof of something, like whatever consent, how, who is going to take decision, how blockchain network is going to take decision based on the consensus. So consensus is like making the terms equally, right? So who is going to operate that network? So only few can do that thing. You can't go and simply join the network and change the things accordingly. You can't be validator, you can't be staker, you can't uh, moderate the network, right? So this is the thing which is like in permission blockchain, public permission, public blockchain. You can join the network, you can see network, you can operate the things, but you can't change the method how is it operating, right? You can't control the network. So there are few blockchain names, Stellar, Ripple, EOS. So I think you must be already aware of their cryptocurrencies like Ripple, EOS. So Ripple was Stellar was the bank, and Ripple was also, I think, bank or something. I don't know. I'm not remembering what was the Ripple use case. But these are the blockchain which is public but permission. You can see their data, you can use their blockchain, but you can't control. There are only few people who can control the blockchain, right? Now coming to the second type of blockchain. So second type of public blockchain is permissionless. So this is the very famous one, and this is the most widely used. So in this case, anyone can join the network, anyone can join the network, and anyone can contribute to the consensus. So you can go and become a validator. So validators are those like, if I think you have heard of Bitcoin miners, right? Ethereum miners. So who are the miners? They maintain the consensus. Okay, so they see like, hey, this transaction is valid, so they just add in the blockchain, right? So those are the contributors, you can say, the validators, who verify the transaction is correct and add into the block. Okay, so in the permissionless, you can also become a validator, you can also become the staker, you can contribute to the consensus, and you can also join the network. Of course, by joining the network means you can do any transaction on that blockchain. uh, you can query that blockchain. It is free, like it is open for all. Anyone can do that. Like if you go and if you want to deploy your own app, you just create your own app and deploy on the Ethereum blockchain. You can do. You can send me one Bitcoin, I can send you one Ethereum. Everything, it is free for everyone, right? So anyone, so in the permissionless public blockchain is the major use case. Like we already know about Ethereum and Bitcoin. So these are the example of the permission and public-less, sorry, public and permissionless blockchain, right? And now coming to the second type of blockchain, which is private blockchain. So private blockchain are the permission blockchain. Like it is kinda very limited to few people. Like you need access to join their network. You can't, anyone can't join their network. Anyone can't go and check their system. Go join the sorry, private blockchain and do whatever they want to do. They can't deploy their apps. They can't do transaction. They can't see query transactions on the private blockchain. For that, you need to gain the permission. So who will be the owner? So owner could be like, suppose you are having your own college, own university, having set up your private blockchain for that university, suppose, right? So university is planning to set up their blockchain to store their data of the students and teachers, faculties, everyone, staff and director and everyone in their database, which is going to be like a blockchain kind of database. So they are moving from centralized to decentralized, but they don't want to reveal everything on the public. Of course, this is like limited use case, right? So this makes sense also. Like universities is not going to upload everything on public and make it available for everyone, right? They want to restrict their database, the data of students, faculties, to just to only to the staff and the faculty and a student of the college. That makes sense. So they are their use case is something like that. So according to that use case, they will opt for private blockchain instead of public blockchain, because public blockchain is open for everyone, anyone can see their data. So they will opt for private blockchain. And who is going to who is going who can see their network, who can see their data? Only the staff or members who are given the access to enter the system, right? And only a chosen few nodes are allowed to make administrative decision. This also makes sense. The faculty can't make decision, right? They can't take decision. The students can't take decision. Only the administrator can see the can take the decision. Only they can moderate the blockchain network, which also makes sense. So private blockchain is like limited to use case. Like industry want to keep their own blockchain, use their own blockchain. Only the employees of that industry can join the network and do whatever they want to do. So private blockchain is kind of limited, and it is like it totally depends on the use case, we say, right? So if you want to make it public, you can go for public, and if you want you private, so if you want to restrict the data to the only the members who you want to give to access, so you can opt for private blockchain. So one famous private blockchain is like Hyperledger Fabric. It was like made by IBM. So Hyperledger Fabric is kind of private blockchain, right? So many companies are already using Hyperledger Fabric. I think Tech Mahindra is also using Hyperledger Fabric, and most of the Indian companies are also going for the private blockchain because their use case is different from the public blockchain. So they use private permission blockchain. So these were the three types of the blockchain we already talked about. Like one is the public. Public had two: one uh, permissionless and permission. So permission means you can join the network, you can do the transaction, but you can't control the consensus. You can't control the blockchain network, right? You can't configure it. But in the permissionless, like you can join it, you can contribute to the consensus. You can anyone in the whole world, whether you are of 1 years old or 60 years old, right? It is not going to restrict you from like, hey, you need to be 18 plus, then only you can do transaction on our blockchain. No, the blockchain is not going to ask for KYC also. Hey, please add your Aadhaar card, add your PAN card, and do digital KYC. Then only you are going to do the transaction. No, it is not like that. You don't need to set up a nominee or something like that. Same in similar manner, the banks are doing, right? So you can, if you have money, go join the network, send money, earn money, whatever you want to do, right? So this is the cool thing about the blockchain thing. Like it is not restricted to anyone. Like it is not going to reveal your identity also, which is somewhat bad in terms of illegal things, right? But it is very good cases. There are very good cases, good use cases of the blockchain. So you everyone can adopt that use cases, right? So in terms of good thing. So that was the types of the blockchain we talked about, right? So now coming to the main use cases of the blockchain, right? So we already talked about the types of blockchain and how it works, what are the pillars of the blockchain, how a blockchain is going to boom the world, right? Uh, how it is going to make a good technology in the future, similar to ML and AI are doing right now, different types of the blockchain depending on the use case. So now the use case of the there are very vast use cases of the blockchain. So people are also identifying what can be the other use cases of the blockchain in today modern world, right? So but as far as we have identified, like in past 2 years, the blockchain use cases like is growing very rapidly. And in I think in 2021 onwards, the crypto and all these NFT were started booming in the global thing. and people are just opting for the blockchain thing, right? And so I think the major use cases are the few which are mentioned over here, like important one. Okay, and in the next slide we will talk about the application of the blockchain. So now coming to the use cases, the first use case, the smart contract. So I think many of you must have heard of the smart contract term. So what is smart contract? So if you remove the smart word, so you are left with the contract word. So now, what is the contract? So contract is the same thing we use in the traditional world. Like contract is an agreement kind of thing, right? So like, hey, two people are going to make their contract to going to sign a contract, which is buying a building, buying a land, or doing some other exchanges, right? So this contract is based on the pen paper thing, right? So if you remove that pen paper thing and make it more decentralized, then we use smart contract. So in contract also, you need a third party thing, because suppose I'm going to buy a land, right? So you are the buyer, I'm the seller. So you are going to buy from me, and we need to sign a contract. We need to sign a deal. We need to sign a agreement. Like, hey, I am going to give you this much of money, and you are going to give me this piece of land, right? So we need a third party to verify, yeah, yes, like, hey, I this guy has received the money, so the other guy have to transfer his piece of land to the buyer, right? So we need a third party over between that. But suppose, what if third party is also involved with the other party, like this buyer? So they are going to do a fraud, right? So this is the main criminal activity which are going right now. A fraud thing, like you just give your money and you are not getting your land or building or whatever you want, whatever things is promised to by the buyer, sorry, by the seller to give you. But if you remove the third party, so how we can remove the third party and still do the contract, still sign the agreement. How we can do that? So for that reason, uh, we have a term smart contract on the blockchain. So smart contracts are basically the computer programs which are written and deployed on the blockchain. So the major blockchain which uses smart contract is Ethereum. Like Ethereum was the first one to introduce the smart contract, and even smart contract is possible on the Bitcoin also, but like it is very rare. Like the use case is very limited, so we don't talk about the deploying smart contracts on Bitcoin. Ignore that part. So we are just talking about the Ethereum and many other blockchain which are adopting smart contracts. So smart contracts are the simple programs, computer programs, which are written by the developers like us, right? They are the simple developers like me. I'm a smart contract developer. So what we do, basically, we write something, some programs in a file, and just deploy that file over the blockchain. So now you'll ask how the file is going to do, how it is going to manage everything. So basically, the contract, it is basically a simple if and then commands. Like if this happens, then this will happen. When this will happen, then this will happen. Something like that in that terms. Same thing in traditional finance. How we do? If I give you money, then you give me the land. In the same terms, it is written in the commands and uploaded in the file in a file and uploaded on the it gets deployed on the blockchain. So basically, it automates the execution of contract terms when the condition met them. So suppose we write a condition over a file and just deploy over the blockchain, and whenever the condition is going to met, then the contract terms will automatically execute. Right. So these are the basic things about the smart contract. Basically, it is like very useful and used by the industries which are using traditional governance by using paper contracts. So they are mostly used by the industry right now. And even if you see the decentralized apps, the dApps which are deployed, which you are using right now. Most of the decentralized apps are written in the smart contracts. So they are the basic principle, basic computer programs which are written by the developers and deployed over the blockchain. Right. So the good thing about the blockchain is it makes the record immutable. So even if you write the contract, smart contract, and deploy over the blockchain network, so it will be like permanent kind of thing. It is like permanent record. Nobody can change the record. No one is going to change the program. So that is why we say before deploying a smart contract on blockchain, we need to verify it very times. We need to do a lot of testing, because once it is deployed on the blockchain, it is like impossible to change it. You can't even change it. The other option, suppose if you are writing a program, hello world program, and you just deployed over the blockchain, so you can't change it and go and say hello city, hello anything, hello earth. You can't change it. The other option would be to deploy a new smart contract on the blockchain network. This is the only option you are left with. So blockchain makes a permanent record of every action and the reaction in a transaction form, right? So it is a permanent record. So the smart contract which is written, it is deployed on the blockchain. So it is permanent thing. You can't change it. No one can manipulate it. So it is a best use case. I would say it is the one of the top use case of the blockchain, is the smart contract. You can deploy a smart contract, dApps and everything using smart contracts. Even if you have heard of NFT, right? So what are NFT? NFT are nothing. Basically, they are the piece of art, right? But how it is carried over the blockchain? If I ask you in a simple terms, how NFT is uploaded on the blockchain and how it is transferred. Suppose if I buy NFT from you with 1 ether, I have 1 ether. If I give you 1 ether, you will promise me to transfer that NFT to me. But how it is going to do on the blockchain? So basically, these all things, all the logics are written in the form of smart contract, and it is deployed on the blockchain, right? So this is the major use case of the blockchain, the smart contract, NFT, and even ERC20 token. Okay, I will talk more about it. In the second point, the second point is tokenization. So how tokenization works in the blockchain? So in simple terms, tokenization is digital representation of something, of anything, like any value. It is a digitally representation of any value, whether it can be cryptocurrency, digital token, it can be NFT, anything. So whatever the if it has value, you can digitalize it and make a token of that thing, and you can deploy over the blockchain, right? So right now, if you have heard of the metaverse and all those hype words, so all those things? They have some values, and they are being digitalized and being uploaded on the blockchain. Nothing else. So they are simple programs which are written over there. You have got a PNG, just program it and upload on the blockchain. So that makes NFT, and simply a metaverse. Just build assets, 3D assets, use smart contract, write logics, deploy over blockchain. You got metaverse. Simple cryptocurrencies like Dogecoin, Sheepcoin, all these things are ERC20 tokens. So these are the tokens. So how it is written? Like these are the programs which are written in the smart contract and deployed over the blockchain. That's all. Simple. So smart contract and tokenization, like everything, most of the things are written in the smart contract thing. It is like basic building blocks of the everything which are deployed on the blockchain. So yes, if you talk about any token, whether it is like cryptocurrencies, NFT, metaverse, anything, any digital asset, these are all written in the programs, in the form of programs, and deployed on the blockchain. That's all. Over. That is tokenization. Okay. I will talk more about NFT. Like we talk about the use case of the blockchain in the modern world. So how NFT is like changing everything. So recently, CR7, Cristiano Ronaldo, like okay, so he collaborated with Binance to make to release their NFT. He collaborated with Binance team. Binance team, like Binance is the blockchain, of course. So Binance is also an app. So he collaborated with Binance and released an NFT. They are working on it. They are going to release an NFT. Similarly, NBA. So NBA, they, I think that, what is the name? NBA's Golden State Warriors. Yeah, these are the they become the first sports team, professional sports team, to introduce an NFT collection for their fans. So basically, they introduced NFT collection for their fans. They became the first sports team to release that thing. So these are the basic thing how people are now growing up and adopting the NFTs. In India, if you talk about Amitabh Bachchan released his NFT. Salman Khan released his NFT, right? And most of the singer have already released their NFT in the forms of like songs like Ritviz. He released his phrases of songs in form of NFT and uploaded on like blockchain. So you can go and purchase that NFT. So all these are the major use case, and it is like NFT is very much trending right now mm, in the world or India, you can say everywhere, right? So yeah, now coming to the third use case, like which is cyber security. So when we talk about the cyber security, we simply think of like cyber crimes, right? Most of the cyber crimes become are cyber crimes are growing day by day. Why? Because there are like centralized database. Every second day you will hear like, oh, this company's database got leaked, Domino's got leaked, MobiQuick got leaked, SBI got leaked, and there is not limitation to the centralized database like which is getting leaked day by day. Even Aadhaar card few years back, what was released, the data of Aadhaar card was released by an hacker. Like, hey, we have all your data and everything. So why this is happening? So why every other day, centralized every company is getting breached? Why? Because there is like central entity, right? There is a central database. There is a central data center. So if you attack anyhow the central database, you are going to have their all their data, right? So what is the solution to that thing? First of all, uh, make it decentralized. So if you talk about the adoption of the blockchain, so you can use blockchain as a database, right? And store your data in an encrypted form. So once every data is uploaded on the blockchain, so you can't just simply go and hack the data and decrypt it, right? Which is impossible. So in terms of cybersecurity, there are no weak links in when everything is decentralized. So this is very powerful use case of the blockchain technology, which can be adopted. And of course, it is day by day, people are just using encrypted thing. If you think of this way, like two-way factor, uh, two-way authentication factor, right? If you use Facebook, Instagram, even Discord, everything. So right now, why people are the company themselves are suggesting to use, hey, please use our two-way authentication system. Why they are using? Because they're not confident about their email ID and password thing. They need to uh, double layer authentication. Why they are doing so? Because they know their database can be hacked, leaked, and have breached. So all the credential can be leaked among the users. So it is not secure. So better we have two-way authentication system. So if you use the data decentralized one, the blockchain, so I would say like you don't need two-way. Just use your one single password that is like of your wallet, and hey, you are good to go. But please don't share your private key, of course. Private key is the one who is holding your tokens assets. So who owns the private key owns your asset. This is the term which is said in the Web3 space. So if you have $1 million worth of Bitcoin in your wallet, please don't share your private key with your friends. Otherwise, you will be not the owner of that $1 million dollar. Your friend will be, right. So this was the thing about cybersecurity use case. Right. Now coming next to it, like IoT, Internet of Things. So I think most of you must be aware of IoT, Internet of Things. What is IoT? Right. So the main use case of IoT and the blockchain, main use case of blockchain IoT is mainly in the supply chain sector. So the when it is like supply chain sector, so what is supply chain? I will talk about in the about supply chain in the next slide also. So basically, supply chain is something like, suppose you have ordered your iPhone from you have ordered your iPhone, right? So basically, if the iPhone is not made in India, so it is made in California. So how it is getting shipped from California to your doorstep, to your house directly. So there is a long system, which we call supply chain, through which like your iPhone goes through, right? From starting from California to I don't know, from you to UK, from India, from most of the countries, from via seaways, via airways, via roadways, via railways. There are many ways which through which your iPhone could be carried out, right? To even from like from railways to your truck, and from truck to your delivery partner, from bike to your doorstep, right? So there is a long chain of supply system through which your iPhone would have passed. So this is like supply chain. If you are eating apple, so these apple are not grown in your backyards park, right? It is like being grown in the Himachal, and from Himachal the apple is being imported to your like carried out to your house, like to doorsteps, right? So there is a long supply chain in that also. So everything, every assets, every I would say every object which you are seeing right now at your surrounding is like you have passed through multiple process in the supply chain, right? So this is the basic example of the supply chain. So the main use case of the blockchain, like how this I will talk about the supply chain in traditional world. So right now it is like used on the pen paper thing, but we can make it decentralized, right? We can make it decentralized, and through every checkpoints the your object is passed through, it will be uploaded on the blockchain database, and the user themselves can see, track their data, track their object, like, hey, this apple, I would talk about my apple. So where from my apple is coming, like through which checkpoint it has passed through, what are the checkpoints, what are the checkposts, and so you can track everything. So you can we can use blockchain technology in supply chain also, right? So the IoT thing, I was talking about the use case of the blockchain in IoT. So it is mainly used in supply chain sector for asset tracking, which I have already explained, and inventory management. So what is inventory management? So this you will get by the terms inventory management. So inventory is the data, sorry, not data store, like storehouse of uh, your objects. Suppose you are using supermarket, Big Bazaar, right? So Big Bazaar have their inventory thing, like they have their all their products in their inventory. So how they say we are out of stock? How Amazon say we are out of stock? So basically, all the products from their inventory is like sold out. So they say, hey, we are out of stock. So even IoT is used in the inventory management, and similarly, blockchain can be implemented in the IoT and in the supply chain sector for asset tracking and inventory management. Right. So IoT can also be used in the record measurement, which are made by the machine. Suppose machines says, "Hey, your apple is of 100 grams, right? 400 grams, 300 grams." So basically, all those things are measured by the machines. So what people can do, the worker which is working, who is measuring the uh, measure weight of that object, can alter it, right? But if we talk about directly, what about the measurement getting measured by the machine and directly getting upload on the blockchain? Just listen to my point. Machine measuring the weight of the object, and directly uploading on the blockchain, so no one can alter it in the middleware. And similarly, same product is getting reached to your house, so you can just track your product and see what was the initial measurement while the item was being packed. So this is the use case of the IoT in the blockchain in the IoT. And basically blockchain can be utilized anywhere there where there is data interacting with the real world. So if any data, there is a data which is interacting with the real world, you just simply go and implement blockchain. So next time when you are going for any hackathon, so just look out what data is interacting with the real world, and if it is centralized, go and just use blockchain, and surely you will win that hackathon. Yes. So last one is like government. So we are not totally biased with the government, but like every government which is there in the world, like in every country, they are discouraging the use of the blockchain. Why is it so? Because they are already aware of the potential of the blockchain, right? What is the potential use case of the blockchain, how blockchain can reduce the corruption and everything. So they are just afraid how the government will be like. Suppose if you are sitting at the position of government, you will also think of yourself, like you will be selfish, right? So they are afraid how blockchain is going to uh, reduce the corruption and everything, every fraud which are which are made by the government themselves, right? So this is the very big use case which can be implemented in any government, right? Most of the use case are voting applications. First of all, voting application, like every second day election happens and you listen, hey, EVM hack ho gaya tha, right? So EVM hack. So that EVM can be really hacked. That is possible. You also know, because that is like made up of a chip, and if you have authorization to, if you have access to that chip, you can simply manipulate it, and in within a second, right? So that is possible, right? So why not? Let's make the voting thing publicly on the blockchain. Why not? Because there are few countries also, they have started testing of the uh, this voting thing on blockchain. Even I think in India there was a state, I'm not remembering the name. I think Andhra Pradesh or what. So they have Telangana, yeah. So they have already tested out local elections on blockchain. Yeah, they held their local election on the this decentralized thing. They not on EVM and kind of thing. It was purely decentralized. The testing is going on, right? So this is the major use case of the blockchain which can be used in the government right now. And second could be the personal identification security. So right now we are using like we hold Aadhaar card, right? So suppose you go on the shop. Okay, I will give you an example. You go on a liquor shop to buy liquor, okay, like alcohol, right? So are uh, they are being ordered like you have to give only alcohol to the 21 above years, right? To the people who are more than 21 years. So how they are going to verify their age? So you will of course show your Aadhaar card or suppose driving license. So in case suppose you show them your driving license, so they just wanted to verify your age, but they can have access to your name, address, driving license if you are providing driving license number, and your photo also, right? Like, okay, photo is fine because it will match your identity, but why name, why address, why mobile number, why every data, right, which is written on their identity ID card, right? They just wanted to check your date of birth also only, but they are being they also have your access to other details also, which is like name, address, and everything. So which is like kind of bad, right? It is like centralized thing, and you are providing access data to the shopkeeper, right? So why not we should have a digital ID, whole digital ID, which will like which will have a certificate kind of thing, right? And whatever data you need to show them, you will show that data only. This is like this should be in your hand, not in the hand of the government. So even passports are modified, manipulated. Fake passports, you must have listened, like fake passports are being made, and all those things. So even passports can be uploaded on the immutable ledger. So these are the few use cases which government could opt right now, right? Now talking about the applications of the blockchain. So I think we are running out of time. So I will just simply go one by one in very quick term. The first one is sharing economy. So what is sharing economy? It is like simply defined as a uh, peer-to-peer activity of acquiring and providing or sharing access to the goods and services. So for example, if you talk about Uber, so what Uber is doing, like Uber is a transportation service, right? So you are a customer, you have access to a mobile app Uber, and you can find nearby drivers who can use their own vehicle, or uh, uh, they can use their own vehicle rather than a managed fleet, right? So they have their sharing economy thing. So similarly, Airbnb. So they are the platform through which you can connect, and you can spare rooms, apartments, homes with the tourist and every second person who is traveler, right? So you can do that. So the problem in this model is like, suppose the Uber driver is riding a cab, the economy which is shared, like the driver is not getting most of the money. Like every time you you book a cab, they will always complain, hey, we get only 30% or 70% of the money which we earn from you, or rest of them are being transferred to the Uber and all those things. So these are like centralized ones. So they, even the price of CNGs has doubled, right, in past few months. Like past 3 months, the price of CNG is like doubled. But still, the whatever the percent they are getting, the drivers are getting is still same. And who is making profit? The Uber or Ola company themselves, right? So these things can be moved to a decentralized work, and the users can be rewarded more fairly, right? Suppose the drivers can make their own decision, to contribute in the decision, rather than a centralized one. So this can be done, right? So there is a platform, Stemit, STEEMIT, that is already working on this principle of decentralization, and they are rewarding their users more fairly. So this is the first application of blockchain, sharing economy. Second one, crowdfunding. So crowdfunding is kind of thing where the money is being raised for the charity purpose or for any good purpose, right? So one use case could be, one comparison of the crowdfunding could be the COVID relief fund, right? So there I will talk about the two different approaches, different perspective of crowdfunding, and you can yourself judge which one is good. First one is PM Care Fund, right? So you send 10 lakhs rupees to PM Care Fund. You don't know what is going to happen with that money. You don't have access to the transaction hashes, transaction thing, where money is being used, and nothing. You don't know where your 10 lakh rupees have gone or where it is used. You don't know. Now, second perspective, crypto COVID relief fund. The same at the same time in the 2021 when COVID was there. So it was launched by Sandeep Nalwal. He's the founder of Matic Polygon. So he started an initiative through which he was raising the funds in cryptocurrencies. So he had one address, and people were sending the money, cryptocurrency, sorry, not money, cryptocurrencies to that address. He, as a blockchain is very transparent, so they kept a track of each and every money, every single cryptocurrencies which was sent to that address, where they are spending, how much money is getting converted into the USD, and how much is tax they are going to pay to convert the money, and where their money is being used, how much money is being left, what blockchains are used for that crypto for receiving cryptocurrency, and all of that, right? So uh, the this you can now judge yourself which uh, which phase do you like, the centralized one or the decentralized one, the transparent one or which was not transparent? You can yourself judge, right? So this is the major use case of the application of the blockchain. Crowdfunding is blockchain is a good example. Like crowdfunding is a good example where blockchain can be implemented. Governance, so governance we have already talked about how we can use, the voting thing and all those things. The file storage, so file storage we have already talked about this. Instead of using a centralized blockchain, we can have a decentralized, sorry, instead of having centralized database, we can have a decentralized database, something like IPFS is a file storage system on blockchain, where you can upload your files and records, and it will be like in encrypted form, and you can decode it. Only you can decode it, right? So it is a good use case. Yeah, you must try in next hackathon IPFS, right? A decentralized database. Second one is supply chain. So I think supply chain we have already talked about. So it is the, I would say, the most popular blockchain use case from year 2020 is like only supply chain. I think supply chain is the application where blockchain is already going on. Okay, so because right now the complex global supply chain have no central authority, right? Like it lacks visibility. So no one is there is no visibility how the things are going on. So blockchain is very good use case for this one, right? DeFi. So DeFi is a decentralized finance. So, like how the centralized finance is working, banks and everything, they give you loan. They, if you lend money in the bank, they will give you interest. They will charge some interest if you take loan from them. So all these things are dependent on the banks, right? So suppose yesterday, I think few days before, like I heard like Union Bank or some what bank was like they have their some, I don't know what was there. So money was being used in the bad manner or something, illegal way. So, but if you talk these, because these are banks are centralized one, even Citibanks and all the private banks are the owner of the founders of bank are really corrupted, and they are going outside of the India taking money, all the money. So all those things are like common news which you will ever heard. But if you talk about the decentralized one, DeFi. So DeFi is very big use case of blockchain, and right now DeFi applications are booming in the blockchain. Not only the people who are interested in blockchain are using DeFi. Even normal users, I have seen my friends who are not aware of the blockchain, but they have a cryptocurrency. They are investing in DeFi. They are earning good amount of money. They are getting good yield of money, right? So DeFi is a very good use case. Even the company which I am working in right now, TimesWeb, it is like DeFi based, like where you can lend and borrow the cryptocurrencies. So which is very good. There is no centralized one who governance who can uh, change the logic of the program which is written over the smart contract and deployed on the blockchain. So it is a very good example. NFT, we already know NFT, and we have already talked about the application of the NFT. So etc. All other applications could be like real estate, land, and auto title transfer, right? If you are buying or selling land, house, car, you will receive a title. Instead of handling on this paper, blockchain can store, right? Those titles on the network. So you will have your transparent view, like how the transfers are going on, right? So it will help you to give you who is the owner of house, who is the real owner of car, instead of having it on pen paper thing. Tax regulation could be done on the blockchain, right? Medical record keeping. So it is also good example of good application of blockchain. Medical record keeping, instead of storing on the pen paper, you just upload your files, medical records on blockchain, and whenever you go to a doctor, visit a doctor, just show him your database. So this is a very good example. Even I, for my final year project, I made this medical record keeping thing. So yeah, it can be used as a good use case. Other could be weapon tracking. So there could be a, we can government or everyone can track the guns and weapon. Who is the owner of gun? Who is the owner of weapon? So it can also keep the record of weapons which are sold privately. So it will have a proper uh, record which which weapon is being sold to whom, right? And so there are many use cases, right? So I would say that if we talk about the future, so together blockchain, artificial intelligence, and Internet of Things, these things, three things, will like it can provide you like basic asset based economic governance. So you will be able to interact with any other identities. So if you combine these three technologies, blockchain, artificial, and IoT, so in future I would say like there we would not be needing any centralized governance to govern. We will be governance of we all will be the government, right? No centralized thing, no central asset or anything, only decentralized thing, right? So these were the major application of the blockchain. So I think I'm also ahead of my time, like we are running out of time. So I will just quickly jump into the question answers which are there in the comments. um, okay, so I will now stop sharing my screen.
Yeah,
And
so our, the first question is we have is from Nizar. He's asking, it's on this up to your screen.
haha. How do you think the metaverse situation is gonna end up with everyone making their own metaverse? Will be on. See, it is not about the competition thing. One thing I like about the Web3 community is like they are very helpful. If you go and they are first of all they are open, they are free, they are not selfish one. So every protocol, every metaverse or every DeFi protocol, they are not thinking of themselves, right? So there is no competition kind of thing. So even if you talk about Web3 communities, if you have heard of Web3 communities, so they are collaborating with themselves, like protocols are collaborating with themselves to make a better world, better place to live. So if you talk about the metaverse, so yeah, surely there are like good metaverse competitors which are there, but I don't think it is going to end up. And everyone is going to join the metaverse and buy digital asset, digital land. Decentralized is very famous one where you can buy your own land, piece of land in form of NFT. So yeah, so it is not going to end up, and there is there will be no winner as such. Because if you talk about metaverse, so metaverse, I think all the metaverse will combine into one universe. Sorry, one metaverse. There could be a thing we don't know. Yeah. So the second question. Can you please explain more about decentralization with examples? Okay, sure. Uh, See, this is the basic pillar of the decentralization of the blockchain decentralization. So, how things are decentralized when we talk about the blockchain? So we have all it is blockchain is kind of distributed ledger technology. So you already know about the ledger, like khata book kind of thing, right? Where you write your own transactions. Like today, I spend 1,000 rupees on this product at this time with time stamps, right? I gave 100 rupees to my friend Ravi with on 20 March 4 a.m. Right. So there, suppose you are keeping a copy, and same copy you made a copy. You go on the Xerox shop and get a copies, multiple 100 copies of that same ledger, and distribute over your friends or your circle. Suppose, okay. Now if I want to change it, right, now if I want to change that one data, like I send 100 rupees, I change instead of 100 I change it to 200. So I can change on my copy, right? But for proof, when I will go to my friend Ravi, he will ask, "Hey, you have to give me 200 rupees." He will say, "How? We have 100 of friends. They will just collect their all ledgers and they will compare it, right? So they will find like, hey, it was like 100 rupees, not 200. You have done fraud. So they will just kick me out of the network. They will just remove me. They will just unfriend me, right? So this is the thing how blockchain works. It makes a copy of the all the transactions records blockchain on every nodes which is connected in the network. So wait, if I can each viewer I dot live. Let me check if I can share my screen and show you this e-viewer. So how this works? Okay, wait, I can show. Wait a second. I will share my screen again. Tab blockchain. Yeah. So hope you can see my screen. So these, what is this? This is like current. This is the live things which is going in the Ethereum blockchain. So you can see these boxes, right? Rectangular boxes. These are basically blocks, and you can see these small yellow things, tiny things. So these are the transactions. So you can see if I hover any transaction amount transacted, itna ETH. This one big. Oh, it is one. Okay. So these are the transaction which is being collected, and when it is collected, is going to add it in the next block. This is the current block, and this is the next block. So if you go and if I can zoom, I can zoom. So yeah, you can see this is the block number, okay, and it is connected. Every block is connected via. I in the starting I have said like cryptographic hash algorithm. So these are the chains and these are the blocks. It makes the blockchain, right? So all these transactions, these are collected, and this will be added in the new block. Every 10 seconds, every 15 seconds, this will be going to add in the new block. Like this block number is 37, another block will be 38, and few of the transactions will be get stored in the block. 37. Wait a second, and it will, yeah, 38. So the see all the transactions from the mempool was stored in this block. So this is a blockchain. How blockchain look like, and you can see there are few blocks are very long, few blocks are very small, and even few blocks can be empty also. Right. It totally depends how much transactions in the world is uh, going to end, going to store happen at that time and being added to that block. So yeah, this was the quick thing I showed you. Now, what is that? Sir, for accepting this application, can you have to do crypto mining for what application? Could you please explain one day? So please, another question. If I have no coding experience, should I jump directly into blockchain language or see about the blockchain development? And the blockchain development is okay. Learn web development first. Okay, if you have no coding experience, then I would say yes for to learn blockchain. Uh, Blockchain is a technology. To learn blockchain technology, you don't need to learn coding experience. You don't have to have any coding experience. But to for blockchain development, to getting starting with the blockchain development, you should have a coding experience also. So it's better, I would advise you to start development, either it could be web development or any development, mobile application development, any development, but you should know programming also, right? You should have a coding some kind of coding experience, then only you can learn, you can see how things are working in the development phases. But to learn the blockchain technology, I don't think you need to do, because technology is kind of thing, hey, I know technology, blockchain technology, I know how it works. So you don't need coding in blockchain, learning blockchain. So more questions, please. Nizara said, okay, blockchain application that you discussed in this session. Okay. Can you explain more? No, this is done. Blockchain application that you discussed. Okay, for accepting this application. Blockchain application discussed. Yeah, the discussion. Okay, I think you're talking about the crypto mining. Oh no, see, crypto mining is different thing. For crypto mining is totally different thing. Not like not everyone can join crypto mining like Bitcoin mining or Ethereum mining. It is not suitable for everyone because for that we need high power miners, for high power computers, servers, and also lot of electricity is consumed by miners. So um, you should be rich enough to buy a miner, then only you can mine cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And it is not like suitable for everyone. Rather, I would suggest go and learn blockchain technology and just jump into the blockchain development part. So development part is very cool. If you talk about Ethereum blockchain development, that is happening right now. Like everyone is into the blockchain space, who is in blockchain space. Mostly they are developing in the Ethereum blockchain. Bitcoin blockchain is like not meant for development purpose, but Bitcoin blockchain is like basic building blocks of the block, any blockchain. Like this Bitcoin was the first one to have a blockchain kind of thing, and after that Ethereum is the second one, second largest blockchain. So for blockchain development, go and study, get the basics of the blockchain, how blockchain works, different types of blockchain, which I have already explained. And you can start with the coding phases. That is like smart contracts, and start making projects, make two and three, five, tens of projects, and participates in hackathons. If you have any question, like just follow any crypto guy on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and ask him. I guarantee you, he's going to help you. That is for sure, because Web3 community is only meant for helping, and not they are not like selfish. How did you get opportunity at times, and how that was going? That's cool. Like I started blockchain in year 2020, like 2 years back, and at the end of the, like, it was like fourth quarter of 2020 when I started learning blockchain, and started it took me around 2 to 3 months to get the basic of the blockchain. And at that time blockchain was not at the peak, so no one was there, were no senior and all that thing to help me. So I started with my own, just found just keep searching on the Google what is blockchain, types of blockchain, and all those things, right? So after that, I made few projects on blockchain and participated in few hackathons on blockchain and built projects over there. And then I got quite good confidence, like, hey, I can make projects on blockchain and everything. I know I good have good knowledge of the blockchain. Then I started applying at the for the internship, and in the third year itself I got the internship there at Times Up. And there I got to learn more many things about, like, hey, the it's totally different from what I have built in the projects. So it was cool thing. And after 6 months of internship, I finally got converted into the a full-time role. And yeah, it is going cool. Like, I love the culture over there, and also like Web3 space is very cool. So it's not like only one company you're following up. You can collaborate with other companies. Like, you can see our TimesUp is also collaborating with other companies. So this is how Web3 community is growing, right? Few developers, one web developer, Web3 developer is helping other Web3 developers. This is how community is going up. Can you please explain the difference between L2 and sharding? See, so L2 is, if you talk about the L1, layer one. So layer one is normal basic blockchain, right? So normal blockchain like Bitcoin, Ethereum. So these are like using some outdated things like technologies. They are in the starting, they were not aware of, like, hey, many people could be joining our network, and our blockchain network could be slow, right? So now what L2 is like, L2 is made on the top of L1. Like, this is the second layer, L2, layer 2, made on the top of the normal blockchain. The one example is a Polygon, very, very famous. Our Indian guy, Sandeep Nalwal, is the founder. He made uh, this Polygon, and it is the layer 2, which makes the transaction speed very high. If you talk about the Ethereum, so Ethereum network is very congested. It is very congested. Like, if it takes, sometimes it takes hours and hours to get one transaction confirmed on the blockchain. But if you talk about L2, it is very fast. It is lightning fast. It only takes 2 or 3 seconds to get a transaction confirmed, right? And if you talk about the gas fees. So gas fees on Ethereum is very much like, recently it got up to high as $100. So $100 was the gas fees to do any transaction on the Ethereum blockchain. But using second layer, the transaction fees is very low. It is less than $1 also. It is very, very less, right? So L2 is kind of good thing. Like, people are using L2, adopting L2, and even Ethereum is getting merged. Like, they are moving their consensus from proof of work to proof of stake. I think in 1 or 2 months it will be like you will be using proof of stake Ethereum V2. That is merged. That is going to be happen. And from that onwards, like the Ethereum ecosystem will be get widen up, and the transaction amount will be like, could the Ethereum could hand Ethereum network can handle more transactions, which is handling right now, and the speed will be increased, and I think gas will be also decreased. Yeah, so I think that's all. Any more questions? Any more questions? I can't see.
So I don't think so. We have more questions in the comment section. So yeah, so thank you, Kumar. Thank you for joining in, and thank you for giving so much incredible insights about the blockchain. It was a very wonderful session. And guys, do connect with Kumar in through LinkedIn, because in case you face any doubts or queries regarding the blockchain, you can just connect with him over LinkedIn. You can ask him about the opportunities, because Nizar was asking about how to use web and everything. So you can just maybe you can get a referral to from Kumar. So just stay connected with him. Try to learn from more and more, and just explore more things about blockchain. And yeah, always thank you for coming in. Yeah, Nizar is asking awesome session. Thank you. Yeah, it was a very, again, it was an incredible session, Kumar. It was very incredible having you. So yeah,
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Vandit. Thank you, Nizar.
Thank you,
Have a
guys.
nice day.
Bye bye.
Bye bye, guys. Thank you.